Okay, so 1 year ago today was the day we left Prague to go to Olomouc, Olomouc. Uh, to just to add something about Prague, we did go to the hill. There's a beautiful castle on the hill, the king, the cathedral, all this stuff. He had a picture of me. The one picture he took of me was of him taking a selfie, and I'm in the background taking a picture of the cathedral, which I don't have. But I was like, "Hey, let's do this picture together of the overlook of this whole beautiful city. Let's take a picture of us with the city in the background. Be great." No, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So he took a picture of himself right where I wanted us to have a picture of us together with the city in the background. No, but I was not welcome to be included in his photo. And when I said, "Well, let me get it then, I'll take it," he's like, "No, no." So he's a perfect ass. And that was when we walked down to beautiful sculpture outside of the Senate building, the Parliament in Prague. Yeah, absolutely gorgeous. They're beautiful statues. He had this little angry cat puppet that we would take pictures of Angry Cat, and Tomo, the little Buddhist guy, would take pictures all in different things, kind of just we were here, just kind of a cool thing. And we sort of did that. Um, Trying to get things back on track after the big anger, disaster, hatred hitting thing. So I told him, we're going to go to Olomouc because we can get there. It was cheaper splitting up the trip, spending one night Olomouc and going the whole way to Krakow. So we took one night there, and he found a place that was kind of cool. It was a little horse farm. It's a little motel kind of thing on a horse farm, 2 stories and like 8 units, 8 or 10 units. Um, but it was beautiful. All of them because they have this cathedral, the Saint Wenceslas. Everything's Saint Wenceslas, but the Saint Wenceslas Cathedral, and it was just freaking beautiful. Mother Teresa visited. Pope John Paul II visited, and we went into the crypt area. No photography allowed. He's taking pictures, but that's tomorrow. But for this night, I did a great thing. I did an amazing thing. So we get there by train, and then we got to find out where this place is. And as it turns out, it's like 2 miles out in the country, which is no problem. We followed the river, walked around. It was a beautiful, pleasant walk. Um, but he wasn't happy. I mean, there was no Uber, not really any taxis in Olomouc. It's a very small town, maybe 20,000, 30,000 people. I don't know. Cathedral on the hill, lots of structures on hills in that part of the world. And so we walked down along the river, and oh, he's hurt. Oh, my head, my leg, whatever, you hurt. He banged himself up pretty good, and was still recovering from that. And exacerbated the hernia thing, but I didn't stop him anyway. So we go for a walk, and then we get there, and then we go to the grocery store, which is always fun. I love going to grocery stores and supermarket or supermarkets in foreign lands. It's always just a kick in the pants. And bought a couple things, went back to the hotel room, and then went out for a very, very nice dinner. It was quite expensive at the restaurant Jardiniere, the horse place. It had its own restaurant. Second story, overlooking the indoor horse arena. Very beautiful, very, very, very nice, very pleasant, and pretty expensive. But we were tired because it was a travel day, and travel days were always tiresome because you got to get up and get your kit together and get moving. So, but we were in a room, and it was like 11 or something, and we'd been hanging out having at the restaurant, and he didn't want to walk around or go anywhere in town. Just, he didn't, whatever. There's not really anywhere to go. There's a cool bar up the street that I wanted to check out, but so we had our vodka the metal vodka bottle that we traveled with that we picked up early on the airplane. On the airplane, it was duty free, and we just kept filling that thing, and that was like a canteen we carried with us. He has that now because we were going to divvy up this. Anyway, I'll get to that later. But so we're in the hotel room, just relaxing, pretty much not watching TV. But the one thing he thanked me for that night was, I'm like, check out the sunset. We've been in the cities with the stuff. We can't see any sunsets. There's not been any sunsets. So come look. And he didn't want to go outside. So I just opened the big windows. Here we go. Look, it's the sunset. And he was like, oh. And he took a couple pictures and he goes, thank you. Thank you for reminding me of that. Great. Can't wait to see the pictures of that sunset anyway. So we step outside. We're getting we should probably go because we got to catch a train in the morning. We got to get on the train. It was around 1ish to get the train to Krakow. Noon 1. Maybe a little bit later, 2 or 3, because checkout time was noon. So we both step outside because there's a little balcony, no smoking rooms or anything like that. So we step outside for a second, and boom, the door shuts. And don't you have the keys? No, you don't have your key? Your key card? You don't have your key? Yeah, the keys! So, whoa, I guess I didn't have my key. He didn't have his key. Stepped out for a second and just instinctively closed. I was the last one out and instinctively closed the door behind me. Well, office closes at 9. It's like 11:30. The restaurant's closing. I'm trying to explain to them that no key to get in the hotel room. We're screwed. Like 11:30 at night. And this freaking furious. Joey's absolutely furious. And I'm running. I'm a runner. So ran a lot more back then than I do. But anyway, I'm like running back and forth talking to people. No habla inglés. It's like, whatever that is equivalent is in Czech. I don't know. Key, no room, nothing. And of course, didn't leave the back window unlocked so that I could crawl in through that. So we're hosed, totally hosed. And eventually, they're like, no, we closed. We can't, the restaurant. I was like, no, we can't help you. It was like, oh, I felt this, about that tall. It was horrible. It was awful. And there was just no letting go of that. Finally, somebody got through to somebody, figured out who to contact, and the nice, pleasant girl that had checked us in showed up about 40 minutes later. And she goes, oh, this happens all the time. She did speak English and quite well. And she said, oh, no, it's fine. No. And she got us in the room and we were fine. So after a 40-minute inconvenience, we're all settled in. And guess who won't let it go? It's like I killed his dog or something. He was just so mad. He was so furious, and I was like, "Oh, look, we're okay now. We're in a safe place. We're traveling on. And I allowed him. I said, you pick out the hotel. You get to pick out the hotel for Olomouc. Wherever you want to stay, we can stay there. With the reason, like $200 a night or anything like that. But then he found this was pleasant, and it was relatively, it was like $60, $70. I was like, yeah, okay, yeah. Stopover place, be in the country, see rural Czech Republic, that kind of thing. But he still to this day, I'm sure, well, there's a lot of things he's not forgiven me about, which comes later in the story. But yeah, still furious about that. Dude, you locked the keys. Well, he had just as much responsibility to have a key in his pocket as I did in mine. Really? Right? I mean, isn't that why 2 people to have keys? I don't know. Anyway, well, I made sure that never happened again. Well, yeah. Well, there's some more interesting developments along the way. So after that horrible thing that I did, and I'm sorry. Starshine. I'm sorry. I mean, but so that's the 1,010th time I've apologized for that, shutting the door to the hotel room. Next to a horse farm, and there are flies every 10 inches, like, and there was one in the room. It took him an hour to kill. I was like, and it was driving us both crazy. He finally got it, but yeah. So I mean, I was just trying to be considerate and not leave the door wide open, and anyway. So we got to bed. It was a restless night. I don't know. Uh, but we got up the next morning, checked out, probably 5. It was always with this guy. It was always 5 or 10 minutes after checkout time before he was even ready to head toward the door. But I will tell you about that tomorrow, which a year ago tomorrow will be June 14th, which was when we traveled to Krakow, Poland. So another interesting adventure is coming up. And if anything else comes to mind about Olomouc, I know I took a lot more pictures than he did. Um, he took many, and I will relate to tomorrow because we did have an adventure before we got on the train. So I'll tell you more about that. Thank you.